Hey, welcome to another video. My name is Blake. This is Merch Campus, a channel all about merch by Amazon. And today we're going to be cracking into trademarks. And there's a lot of fear around it and confusion. I get a lot of kind of messages like, is this trademark? Can I do this? And so I wanted to explore this a little bit. There's a lot to talk about here, so I might not get into everything. So please forgive me if I do not crack into everything. I go a little bit more in depth also in my crash course, my 7-day crash course. So if you want to click into the PDF thing, the best snitches, and then you'll get the 7-day free crash course as well. Let me just quickly give a basic idea that a lot of people who get immediate rejections when they upload a t-shirt, it's very likely because one of the keywords that they're using is trademark. To get an immediate rejection after you upload something means that you're doing something that is either trademark or that infringes content policy. So what would be content policy infringement? Firstly, you should be reading that. So that's in the resource tab of Merch by Amazon to read all the kind of content policy best practices, what you're allowed to do and not. But for example, if you include the terms like alcohol or some profanity in a shirt which includes kid sizing, that infringes on content policy now, so that would get a ping, things like that. Or if you do put like the word Nike, that would immediately trigger like a trademark check, so you get rejected. So just keep in mind, if you're getting rejections, it's probably because you haven't read the content policy properly or you haven't done a proper trademark check. Now, how we do a trademark check is basically this website is search, the trademark database, right? USPTO, the United States Patent and Trademark Office. And when you click into there, you go down to search trademark database, and then you do a basic word mark search, at least in our case. You type in, let's say this, happy camper. You want to put this on a t-shirt, you want to see if it's good. You submit it, then you have to go through all these, see which one pertains to clothing category number 25, which is pretty tiring, right? As you can see, I happen to notice this one because I did it before. And clothing category 25 is, as you can see, t-shirts, hats, kind of like apparel that the US government has given the number 25 to all things around apparel. So that's relevant to our t-shirt stuff. Now, that takes ages, and you can do a slightly shorter version with tmhunt.com. So if I write happy camper, right, you have it live as well. But what's, in my opinion, the best option is to just get this free Chrome extension, Merch by Amazon Trademark Protection, right? It's a Merch Informer Chrome plugin. Let's say you're here on the page, and you just click, this one will check clothing category 25, right? For all the keywords in here at once. And then this would do it for pop sockets. So that would, I believe, is category number 9. So we just click that, bam. And now it found out all the potential like trademark infringements. Some of them will be a bit confusing for people because I know they're not, like for example, celebrate. I'm not worried about that. That would not be a concern for me. But for some people who, let's say, wouldn't know that's not a concern, they would like be so like here, perfect's fine as well. So it's hard to tell sometimes. But this I know, Thankful is live. You can see it's live. So I was like, okay, I don't think I will include that into the listing. Now keep in mind that some trademarks are what we call frivolous. So they're silly, they're kind of ungrounded, but people file them anyways. And there's a great group in Facebook called Trademark Watchdogs. Everyone kind of can play their own part. You can actually file letters of protest. I just donate monthly. If there's like a silly trademark that's being filed, you can file a letter of protest and prevent it from kind of going live and then being a risk for your accounts. So this is a great group. I highly recommend it. To go back to what I was saying, here I have this classic Gucci shirt. Now please do not do something like this, but just for example, when I run a trademark check, you can see that the Gucci word doesn't get flagged because they're doing this hyphen dash thing. And if you go down, you see Gucci again, it's got 3 C's. So they're doing everything to not trigger the automatic rejection from the algorithm. But this is clearly infringing content. So I would say, please do not do this. And please do not try to sneak your way around the algorithm unless you're okay with just like short-term profits. But because the account will probably get taken down, you will not benefit from having a Merch by Amazon account for the long term. So this is why some people get past the first level of defense, which is the natural kind of algorithm which tracks keywords relative, very similar to how Merch Informer is doing it, I imagine, because if we just ran a Merch Informer check and nothing got flagged for this, even though it's clearly an infringing content. So that's what we call forward-facing Amazon pages. So this is just an Amazon page that we can do our research and say, before we add this to our list, let me just check if this is good to go, or if we're like doing keyword research. Now the next thing I would probably do, but this is only for people who have the Merch Informer software. So now you can do it in the back end. So like let's say before I send this live, I do a quick trademark check, and then it pulls up potentially flagged words. I did this on purpose. So I did like basically tequila brands, Patron, and then so this is live. Again, things like fun, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Here we go, Bacardi, it's also live, as you know, Bacardi the brand. So that would be, okay, so I can't include that, but it looks like my brand and title are good to go. Yeah, so some of these will be confusing. I understand. All of these are being triggered. Love, perfect, if you, fun. So you're like, are these not good to go? I know that that will fly because I've done it so many times. It may not be obvious. I think in this case, if you just have the word like perfect or just fun, that's where you're infringing. So that's how I understand it. So that's the advantage. When you're about to send something live, you just do a quick check, bam, see if anything is like glaringly obvious. Don't worry about these last 3 bullets because that's just Amazon stuff, so it flies. So that's the main kind of things to understand. It's pulling all the data, at least on the .com website, because EU has different trademark laws, so then you have to look at the local countries. So you have Germany and then the UK, but then you also have EU. With this, it's just Amazon.com. It pulls it from the government office, right, the patent office. The simple way to do it is just with a merchant form trademark check, because it scans all your keywords at once in the right clothing category. And then you could do that while you're doing research, but then you can also do it in the back end if you have merchant form before you go live. Just speaking overall, trademark and copyright infringement is really important to understand if you're getting into the Merch by Amazon business, because it's one of the core ways that you could get a strike in your account. Now, strikes in your account, of course, vary with different degrees. Like maybe just a rejection strike is not as bad as like a takedown strike. And then also the severity of the trademark. If it's like a really infringing trademark, like Nike or Gucci, that's really bad, and then your account will just get banned because it's so glaringly obvious, and it's a risk for Amazon, right? Because they're the seller of record. And then you want to make sure you read the content policy, which is in the resources tab in your dashboard. And then they have all these specific points. And so, for example, when a tragedy happens, like when there's a hurricane or some kind of like gun violence, and then people make shirts around it, that's infringing on content policy. It's like you're benefiting off the tragedy. That's how they understand it. But you have to read the content policy to understand it. And remember that people will get away with it for some time, and you'll be frustrated. You're like, oh, how come there's tons of shirts around, like the hurricane thing, even though it's infringing content? Feel free to jump on the train, but then you're just putting your account at risk. It's up to you. And it's the same with trademarks. If it's clearly a trademark infringing shirt that everyone's putting up, like sure, you can jump on the train, but then you're putting your account at risk. So very important to understand these things. And I do recommend this group. It's very good to understanding trademarks a bit better. So hopefully this was kind of useful. I hope your Q4 is going well, and talk to you soon. All right. Thank you very much.